Hey guys, you're watching Couch Surfing here with Metal Matt, and we've got a very special guest with us right now, Mr. Brad Thomas from Australian Metallica tribute band Damage Inc. How you doing, bro?
Hey guys, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
No, thanks for joining us, man. I've known Brad for a few years, so...
Just a few.
Just, I think, about 15?
Yeah, something about that.
Yeah. Let's have a bit of a history about how you started playing drums, you know? Like, we'll go way back. What made you start playing drums?
Shout out to Brad Thomas Senior. He bought a drum kit at one point and curiosity, and just jumped on the drums and started playing myself.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually that led to drum lessons from a drummer from a jazz band called Galapagos Duck.
Yeah.
He lived just on the other side of just in Cranebrook.
Mm-hmm.
Just down the road from my friend's house, so it was cool. I'd go there for drum lessons, and then after that I'd go and hang out with my mate for a few hours, and then trot back home. And obviously that led to jamming in bands and at school and stuff like that. And as it turns out, one of the favorite bands to jam on at school would be Metallica.
Of course.
Of course. So I got together with a few guys, and actually, I wasn't always drummer. I, funnily enough, jumped on the mic sometimes.
Oh, really?
And,
vocalist?
Vocalist for a little bit. But yeah, drumming has, it becomes an integral part of your life. It's one of those activities that, is without it, it's like air. Without it, you wouldn't die, but you definitely feel a hole in your life.
Absolutely. Do you have any inspirations behind playing the drums? Is there some drummers that have influenced you? Obviously Lars, but any drummers in particular that influenced you to play? Yeah.
So Led Zeppelin, John Bonham has been a big inspiration in my life.
Great drummer, fantastic drummer.
The ability for him. So I've read stories that he was setting up for a show once, and he had 2 bass drums set up on the stage, and his band would actually take the other bass drum away, and that kind of led to his being able to do all that quick triplet stuff with one foot.
Of course.
The good times, bad times, diddle 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 kind of rhythms that you hear there, and that that rubbed off on me. It's just like, well, you don't need 2 pedals to do this stuff. You've just got to work on your timing with the 1 foot that you do have. So that was cool. And then later on in life, obviously, I found Metallica, and that was, mind-blowing to hear some of those tracks for the first time.
Of course,
from a drumming perspective. And then finding bands like Dream Theater and getting into the whole prog rock metal kind of thing.
Of course,
Mike Portnoy was a huge inspiration, taking... I'm going to put my hand up and say that I did a little bit of creative inspiration here, and just lifting a complete snare roll from one of his tracks. And we used it in one of our songs a few years later. So, to come to that level of inspiration and creativity is, it's almost paramount for the journey that you'll be on as a drummer.
Absolutely.
Is there anybody else? Thinking of other bands like Bran from Mastodon.
Yes.
In bands earlier, there was a lot of things that his style, the quick kind of tom and snare rolls that I started to incorporate into the bands that I was in at the time. So you listen to drummers, you pick up little bits and pieces here and there, you make it your own.
Yeah.
And then, that's how you, that's how you have your own style.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's touch base on Damage Inc. for a second, right?
Yes.
Let's talk about how this all started. Obviously, everyone was a Metallica fan. You guys all got together. You've been in the band since the beginning, since day one?
No. So there was 2 drummers before me.
Yeah, right.
Nick and Tony.
Mm-hmm.
So one day Clint, the lead singer in Damage Inc., he reached out to me on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just like, hey, we're looking for a new drummer. You know, you've come highly recommended. Would you mind coming down for a rehearsal?
Yeah.
And at that time, it was at over at Enfield,
Mm-hmm.
with the rehearsal studios. So I packed up my drum kit into my car and drove to a place that I'd never been before. It was probably the furthest that I'd ever driven for a rehearsal.
Of course.
Went in there and you know, as previously mentioned, I'd been playing Metallica for like years before that point. So it was kind of like, well, it was great that I could find people that also played Metallica tunes.
Of course, yeah.
And I could kind of unleash my drumming fury on that. And thankfully I got the call to say, yes,
Cool.
you're in.
That's the way.
So that was pretty cool.
Have you got a favourite Metallica song that you like playing live?
So we do the live version of Fade to Black.
Yes.
And it's always kind of getting to that last section. And if you've heard Fade to Black live, you know how they do the whole extended dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
And it's a big thing for the crowd too. I mean, Damage Inc. as a band, we like to bring the live experience.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. We like to bring the live experience to a show as well. It's not just a band that you might as well just go home and listen to the CD.
Of course.
Yeah. And so there's Fade to Black. We have busted out Frantic a few times.
Yes.
Which is always a bit of fun. For all the hate that Saint Anger gets.
It does get a lot of hate, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because
for reasons that, you know, people will put out there, but you know, as people that actually play Metallica tunes, we can have our own thing, but you know, it's for the crowds.
Exactly.
You know, we're playing music for the people. Is there anything else? We started to do Blackened a few times.
Yeah, cool.
That's a bit of fun. Keeps you on your toes time-wise.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Let's leave it there. I'll end up saying every Metallica track.
We'll be here for an hour if we keep talking. Actually, speaking of live shows, just recently you guys played with the Orchestra.
Yes.
Which would have been that would have been a hell of an experience. So what was it like playing with the orchestra?
It was very different to what we're used to.
Yeah.
You know, obviously as a band we'd generated some kind of dynamic between the four guys. You get that kind of mind reading ability for each other, you know, because we've played so many shows and we know what we'd do at any certain point.
Yeah.
That was almost, it's a very different dynamic when playing with an orchestra. So George Ellis, the conductor, very cool guy. So, you know, we kicked off the weekend at the Star on the Gold Coast. Set up our gear, did a sound check for just the band, and then George Ellis came in and we did a 2-hour sound check just with him, running through the songs. And then the orchestra came in and we played the entire show with the orchestra. Now, the most impressive thing about all this is the first time that the orchestra would have laid their eyes on the music.
Wow.
There was no preparation on their side whatsoever.
Jeez. Wow.
So George Ellis is walking around putting the sheet music on their stands and they'd come in and they play. That is the level of professionalism.
Just like that?
Just like that.
Oh my God.
Is amazing. So
how was the crowd for both shows? Were different sorts of reactions? Were the crowd really, I'm sure they would have been getting this word, but was the crowd reciprocation there?
Yeah, they were really good. For the Star on Friday night, you know, with COVID and everything at the moment, you can't get up and dance and sing and stuff like that. And unfortunately, there was a couple of people that were ejected because they were told by security to sit down a few times, and you know, it was sad. They got 3 songs in, and then they were ejected. You know,
at least they got a few songs.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, it's it was kind of disappointing for us too because we don't. Yeah, that was almost like a spoiled experience for those people, just because they didn't want to, follow the rules.
Of course.
Yeah, we were like, dance around in your seat, enjoy the night, but just don't stand up. Don't annoy the security.
Be good.
Exactly. So walking out onto the stage for the Friday night and seeing just the massive people. In comparison, our largest show would probably before that. Would have been the Colleton Hotel.
Yep.
And I think we would have been pushing about 300 people.
Wow. In
which we usually do like an hour and a bit, have a little bit of a break, and then have another set. And on that night, security were actually ejecting people because either being too drunk or they realised they were kind of like at capacity limits for that night.
That's crazy.
So they were thinning out the herd, so to say. And we came back to a slightly smaller room, but it was still full.
Yeah.
In comparison with that night, the Star, we sold out at 1,100 people.
Jeez.
So we did the show. We did the pack up, went back to our hotel. In bed by 2:30 because we're rock stars like that.
All you groupies.
Up at 5:30, get ready. So we're already kind of running on fumes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Get down to our we had a guy that was driving us to and from the airport and stuff like that, which was really, really cool. So we're back on the road at 6 o'clock for an 8 o'clock flight out of Gold Coast down to Sydney. Small side story, we got stuck on the tarmac in the Gold Coast.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we were supposed to start pushing back at 8:05. We didn't actually start pushing back until 10:10.
Jeez.
We were stuck for ages.
Oh no.
It was just lucky that we did the sound check with the conductor and everything the day before. So we could kind of get to Sydney and then just do the run through with the orchestra.
Yeah, cool.
Both orchestras were very cool, very approachable. You could talk to most of them, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And then did the show in Sydney, and we sold out the State Theatre at 1,400 seats.
That's a big crowd.
So over the weekend we had played to 2,500 people, which we walked out on the stage for the Star on the Friday night, and it was just nerves.
Of course, yeah.
But I've been told previously for shows, it's just like after you hit that first kick drum for the song, you forget about everything else.
That's right.
All those nerves dissipate.
Yeah.
And so there wasn't those nerves for the Sydney show. Although in the back of my mind, I knew that there was more people that I knew in the crowd for Saturday night.
Yeah.
So
you felt a bit more comfortable. It's like, hey, where you been, man?
Exactly right. And walking on stage and hearing, "Hey, Bruddles,"
Yeah.
that was pretty comforting
That would be
too.
cool. Yeah.
So it was an amazing experience playing those two shows.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, any future plans for the band for the rest of this year? You guys got some shows lined up?
Yeah, we've got the orchestra show in Newcastle, the Civic Theatre, on the 1st of May.
Yeah, cool.
That'll be with the George Ellis Orion Orchestra again. I think it'll be mostly made up of the Sydney Orchestra people as well. So that'll be cool. We've played with a few of the violinists before. They played with us on our Vixen String show. So we did the Damage Inc. and the Vixen Strings. It was just two violinists and a double bassist.
Yeah, cool.
But that kind of set the scene for what we're doing now with the orchestra, just on a bigger scale with the orchestra, obviously. Yeah, very, very intense.
Cool.
And there's some other shows in the works.
Yeah, awesome. Now, if people want to contact the band to find more about you guys, you're on Facebook, Instagram.
So Facebook is Damage Inc., the Australian Metallica tribute band. We're also on Instagram as Damage_Inc_Metallica_tribute. That was a mouthful. Not sure on Twitters, but I think, mostly we're active over the Facebook and the Instagram pages.
Awesome. Cool. Anyway, guys, Brad Thomas from Damage Inc. Absolute legend.
Thank you.